Hello, I'm Dr. Sam, this is Dr. Sam's Health, and with your permission, I would like to continue talking about things that have nothing to do with health or medicine. I started this series called Second Opinion, where I talk about things that have nothing to do with my profession, with medicine, but there are just things that I would like to talk about because I'm just very passionate about them, or I have some degree of expertise or experience with them. In my last two videos, I made a review of my old 2-in-1 laptop, Hewlett-Packard Spectre X360, 15-inch laptop, 2-in-1, beautiful machine, but it had its shortcomings, and at that point I said that, there are other devices that might fit the bill much better than this one. So I decided to purchase another machine by Hewlett-Packard, which is called Elite Dragonfly. It's a 13-inch laptop, beautiful 2-in-1. I've made an unboxing video on it. Now, after having used it for a week, I would like to talk about my experiences with this device. And on a side note, spoiler alert, this is a great machine which I really liked, but I still decided to return it, and that's in part the reason why I'm making these videos so frequently, because I don't have much time. I have to make this video while I still have it, because I'm gonna pack it and send it back to Hewlett-Packard. So let's talk about this device. And as always, prior to getting into the meat of my video, I would like to make a couple of disclaimers. Usually I talk about me being a medical doctor, and anything that I present in my videos or in my blogs on drsamshealth.com should not be taken as a medical advice. This still applies here, but we're going to talk about the computer. And what I would like to say is that I'm not trying to advertise any product, whether it's Hewlett-Packard's, Dell's, Microsoft's, or so on. And at the same time, I will say some good things and some bad things about these devices. These opinions are solely mine. They're based on my user experiences with them, and I do not mean to affect the reputation of Hewlett-Packard or in any way, or any other company. So these are just my user opinions, and I hope you will enjoy them, because if you're making a decision whether to buy this machine or not, you would like to have exactly that. An opinion of somebody who had some experience with these devices. I'm not a professional technical reviewer, so do not expect much of the technical details or minutiae. It will be just my user experiences with a little bit of technical knowledge. So let's dive in. The very first impressions. You have seen me unboxing this device, and from the get-go I said that this device is amazing. It feels amazing. It has this wonderful premium look and feel. I mistakenly called this color Poseidon blue, whereas it's a dragonfly blue color. Doesn't make much difference. The point is the color is actually amazing, and I think that the device has some sort of an oleophobic covering, because I don't see any fingerprints, which is also a very nice thing. So the device has a very nice premium look. Couple of things that became evident during the unboxing, if you remember me saying this. By the way, if you haven't seen this video, please check it out. I think it's worth watching. The packaging itself was definitely not premium, and for a device that I spent 3,500 Canadian dollars on, I would appreciate it arriving in a much better premium packaging that would be a pleasure to open up and just to start playing with this thing. That is the first impression, the first touch, and I think that for a premium device it could be much better. Actually, I watched some YouTube videos of people unboxing exactly the same device, and it turns out that the vast majority of them had much better packaging. They had a very nice white box, very neat premium packaging, and it was a pleasure to watch them unboxing them. Unfortunately, I didn't have this experience, but I actually called Hewlett-Packard and asked whether my device was refurbished or not, and they told me that, well, first of all, there was somebody who had no clue, actually a couple of people, and later on, during my second call, somebody told me that they never send refurbished devices to customers who purchase new machines online. Okay, that was not super important, but it definitely played a role in my first impressions, forming my first psychological bond with this device. Also, out of the box, it turned out that the device didn't have a stylus pen with it. Actually, all my previous machines from Hewlett-Packard came with such a stylus pen, so I would expect that a premium device would come with one in the package. Turns out it's not the case, and actually the pen that I had with my previous device, which was HP Spectre X360, this pen simply didn't work with this machine, and quite frankly, very quickly I decided to return this machine, just after a couple of days, and I didn't have a chance to order a pen just to test it on this device and return it, so I didn't want to bother with that. So I cannot say anything about this device's ability to process any kind of written, stylus pen related issues, stuff, and so on. In any case, we can move further. So as I said, I didn't use the pen, but I definitely had enough time to play with the keyboard, with touchpad. Both aspects, both input devices are amazing. The touchpad is not super big, but that is just pretty much defined by the structure of the device. Since it has a 16:9 aspect ratio, this device is quite narrow, so there is not much space to put a larger, like oversized touchpad. It's not a huge issue for me. I didn't have any issues with using this particular touchpad. In terms of keyboard, it's generally great. It has a very nice feel to it. It has a very nice travel. It's very responsive. I did like it. The only issue is that it feels a little bit too small, and it took me a little bit of time to get used to it, just because it's much smaller than the keyboards I used to use. Actually, going a little bit ahead of myself, I would say that after having experienced this device, the optimal size of the laptop for me would be likely 14-inch, but we'll get to it in a second. Another couple of things I would like to say, the technical characteristics of this machine, the specifications. It has an i7 processor, which is unfortunately the 8th generation, and I'll talk about this in a bit, but the one thing I would like to say that i7, in my opinion, is a little bit of an overkill for such a small device, because it's not supposed to be like a performance machine. It also has this 4K screen, which again is an overkill in my opinion. Both the i7 processor and the 4K screen are draining power, and I don't think that they need to be that premium level. To put it very simply, I think that this device could easily go well with i5 processor and the 1080p screen. Somebody like myself would likely not feel any difference. And of course, at this point, I expect somebody to ask me, why did you buy this machine with i7 processor and 4K screen? The answer is actually very simple. I needed a machine with 1 terabyte of storage, and the only model that came with such a large storage was the model with 4K screen and an i7 processor. Nevertheless, though I believe it's an overkill, the machine didn't overheat, at least much, or at least as much as my previous device, which was a huge issue. Another thing is, I don't feel much difference between 4K and 1080p on 13-inch machine, but the screen has a couple of issues. One of the issues is the screen aspect ratio, which is 16:9, which is a little bit too narrow, and when I use it to read some documents in a portrait mode, I twist it like that, and I've got some pages here. These pages, they got shrunk and they become very small. I would rather use something with the aspect ratio of 16:10 or even preferably 3:2, something like Dell XPS has or Microsoft Surface devices have. So that is something that is a bit of a shortcoming for me, for my personal preferences. And also the screen is glossy, and it's pretty much impossible to use in well-lit rooms or outdoors. It reflects light like crazy, and I've got a massive headache every time I use it there for at least several minutes. That's more than enough for me. I cannot continue. I think I mentioned that the battery life is not affected by the high-performance components. Actually, I think I charged it only once over the course of the week. I must say that I don't use my portable devices too much in the office because I've got a computer there. I see my patients most of the time, but I did use this device at least 2-3 hours a day, and I only had to charge it once, and it was a nice thing because I didn't have to worry about bringing a charger with me or about connecting it to the power grid or do anything or even think about the charge. The device was charged and ready to go all the time. It was a great bonus. I think I should talk about weight again. When I was doing my unboxing, I actually weighed this device, and it turned out that the weight of this device was 1.11 kilos, whereas I expected it to be less than 1 kilo. And I'll explain why. In their advertisement, they were talking about designing a machine that would be super lightweight, and the goal was, quote unquote, to make a machine that is less than 1 kilo. On their website, they say that the weight of devices, the whole lineup of devices, starts with 0.99 kilos. That kind of leads you to believe that the device that you're getting is less than 1 kilo. It turns out it's 11%, 12% heavier, and it's not a huge issue to begin with, but in my case it is a huge issue because I was choosing between two devices. I was choosing between this one and Dell XPS 13, which weighs 1.3 kilos, but it has 16:10 aspect ratio and a couple of other perks that I like slightly, I prefer in comparison to this machine. So anyhow, I was weighing pros and cons of these two machines, and I chose this one because I thought that, okay, I'm going with the lightweight machine, I should go with something that's below 1 kilo. Unfortunately, it turns out that it is not such a machine. It actually, the difference in weight is not that substantial. So that is everything I have to say about the weight, and let's get back to some sort of a summary. My overall impression after using this machine over a course of 1 week is that it is a very good device. It is premium machine, it has premium look, it has premium feel, it is lightweight, it's productive, it's quiet, has good keyboard, good screen, it is actually quite portable, it has good battery life, it is an amazing device. But I still decided to send it back. And I've got 3 big reasons to do so. Let me explain why. The very first reason is that this device is clearly a great improvement in comparison to my previous machine. I had this Spectre X360, and now I've got this one, which is much more portable, has much better battery life. It doesn't have all the technical issues that I had with this device. Maybe they would show up later on, but I will never know. In any case, it is a great improvement, but this improvement simply is not enough to justify spending 3,500 Canadian dollars on this particular machine. I can still use the previous one, and this previous one has some perks. It has a bigger screen, bigger keyboard, I've got everything already installed there. Quite frankly, the trade-off is not that substantial, and I don't think it's worth spending 3,500 Canadian dollars on this new machine. But let me get to the 2 other reasons, and you will understand why I'm returning it. The second reason is the comparison of this device to Dell XPS 13. As I said, I was going to buy one of these 2 machines, and I picked this one because I expected it to be lighter than 1 kilo. It turns out that it's not the case, and now when I've got this device in my hands and I know exactly how much it weighs and how much it costs and what are the technical specs, when I'm comparing it to Dell XPS 13 that has the screen with the aspect ratio of 16:10, which is preferable in my case, it has 32 gigs of RAM instead of 16 here. It still has 1 terabyte of storage. It is substantially cheaper, and the weight difference is not that big, and also it has the 10th generation Intel processor, whereas this device has only the 8th generation processor. Definitely, if I were to buy one of these machines, if I had to choose, I would definitely choose Dell XPS 13. So that is another reason for me to send it back. But again, it's not the main one. The main reason is the fact that just as I ordered this machine, Intel announced the 11th generation of their processors. And after having watched several technical reviews of this lineup of processors, I realized that they are a major breakthrough. They are much more effective, they are faster, they are more productive, they are more cost effective. But most importantly, on top of these processors being superior in terms of their processing power, they also have a built-in video card, which is called, I think, Iris Xe or Xe, which is apparently on par with a discrete GPU. So if I just wait for a month or two, actually Dell already announced that they are making XPS 13s with 11th gen processors, I will get something much more powerful for pretty much the same amount of money. And it is something that is definitely worth waiting. So my final verdict will be, it is a great machine, but it's already came outdated. It has some shortcomings. Again, great computer. I really enjoyed using it for a week, but it has some shortcomings, things that are not perfect for my personal style of using this device. Personally, I would go with something that is 14-inch in size, has different aspect ratio, somewhere along the lines of 16:10 or 3:2, has 11th gen Intel processors, and that is something that I would be waiting for. But the irony is that while I was preparing to make this video, literally last night, there was an announcement that Hewlett-Packard is going to make a new Spectre X360 machine, and this will be Spectre X360 14. So it will be a 14-inch 2-in-1 laptop that, attention, will have the 11th gen Intel processors, and it will have an aspect ratio of 3:2, which is simply ideal thing for me. So I'm going to pack this device. Thank you, Hewlett-Packard, for letting me experiment with this device and to return it to you with like no cost incurred. I really appreciated it. I did not appreciate talking to some Hewlett-Packard customer service reps because it is always a struggle. They always switch you to the American side. There is always somebody who is being difficult. They always ask me to spell my first name, my last name, my email. All these things are long. They are unnecessary and they kind of stall you in the process. Anyhow, I went through this process actually several times. The last person I spoke to, I would like to say thank you to her. Her name is Judy. She was amazing. We were able to wrap up everything very quickly, and now I'm returning this device. And honestly, I was going to say that I will go with Dell XPS 13 as my working horse, but now in the light of the most recent news, I will keep using my old machine for a month or two, and when HP Spectre 360 14 is available, I will definitely order it, and I will make an unboxing video and then the second opinion video on that machine. So Hewlett-Packard, we've got our differences, but still lots of respect for making quite innovative devices, and I'll be giving Hewlett-Packard another chance. In terms of my future videos, I've got a couple of ideas in terms of unboxing and second opinion, just some things that I would like to let off my chest, and after that I will be returning to making videos about health related issues, about nutrition, exercise, and so on. Actually, my next video I think will be called 2080 Ti derangement syndrome. I want to talk about the video cards, about 2080 Ti and people who purchased it recently and now they are kind of upset and they feel that they were ripped off because the 3000 series was released. But after that I'm gonna get back to my normal tropes and I'll be talking about health. And before I wrap up this video, I would like to say again that I actually like this kind of a break. I like making these videos about things that I simply like and enjoy. I feel that I've got so much to say and I don't like being limited to just one subject. If you like this kind of videos, please subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell. Check out my website, drsamshealth.com. I've got all my blogs there, so if you prefer reading stuff rather than listening to some dude with thick accent, you can do it there. And enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you will enjoy the future videos. Thank you for watching and all the best to you.